Dementia residents can be extremely astute and concise with their expressions, derived from observing things without all the multiple mental filters. Now, if they like you, and if you're friendly and easy to deal with, as they say, then they will let you into their world, and it can be wonderful, the things that you learn from them. At one particular place I worked at, there was a dementia resident who used to say, go around all day saying, the eyes are the windows to the soul. And I sort of picked up on this and decided to do a workshop on eye contact. And she, generally aphasic, came out with these amazing pithy statements of, in terms of eye contact, it's fascinating, it fixes you, it's a warm feeling, you feel like you are wanted, and the eyes pick up everything. Now, in 21 words, she managed to pretty much tie up everything about the wonder and value of eye contact and the energy and expression with that. 5 sentences, 21 words. And she, most of the time, couldn't speak clearly. But because her husband, actually I spoke to her husband, and he said, look, she really loved everything to do with the eyes. That quote, the eyes are the mirror of the soul, she used to refer to constantly. She was very good at eye contact. She appreciated and expected eye contact from others. And so this was her interest. And because she had good cognition but had difficulty communicating most of the time, but really wanted to get this message across somehow, she managed to get the clarity with those 21 words I've just mentioned. It was remarkable. So that just made me realize, these dementia residents can be so astute and insightful. Often you just do not realize, but if you're there and able to pick up at the right time and moment what it is they're saying, listen carefully and take note. It's fabulous. Now, sometimes they do speak softly, so you've got to sort of lean in and make sure that you're grasping what they say and take note of it, because it's very insightful, a lot of what they have to say. Now, in terms of observational skills, again, there was a lady that I worked with, and she had been on a farm all her life. Very hardworking woman, loved the farm, loved the horses, the animals, the land, and she used to pull out tussocks all day long. Very back-breaking work. So weather and farming is a big deal in New Zealand. So she'd stand at her bedroom window, look at the weather and the cars. That was her other interest, observational interest. But the weather was a big thing. She'd look at the weather and you'd come in and you'd stand with her, wait for her to give her little analysis of the weather, and she'd say, it's a very, very light wind. Now that's interesting, because you may say a light wind, but you don't tend to say very light wind, and not a very, very light wind. And when I looked and I saw what she was looking at, it was hardly discernible that the leaves were fluttering on the tree outside the window. But when I looked properly, I could see they actually were, and it was an extremely light wind. And then made me more... Actually, I found working with dementia residents, I became so much better at observing myself, because they are so good at being in the present moment. Their recent memory is dysfunctional. They don't think about the future. They're very much in the present moment, very good at observing. And if you tune in with them, you can learn as well and see what it is they're seeing and learn from that. It's actually extremely interesting and, educational. I found it very educational working with dementia residents. So I've written about these topics and more in The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise. Good companion books on Amazon and in the description below. Now, please, thank you for your likes and comments and subscribing. Please pass on the links, and thank you for the support.